I see a few people still coming in, so we're going to give it one more minute and then we'll go ahead and start with our program this evening.
Hey, Alice.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us on National Gun Violence Awareness Day. I'd like to briefly introduce our team here tonight, which includes Karen Herron, MPGV's Legislative Director, who is also running the webinar this evening, Ms. Greta Willis, our Director of Community Engagement and the head of the Liberty Elementary School Grief Support Group, and Ms. Darlene Kane, who is also a Liberty Elementary School support group leader. Both Ms. Greta and Ms. Darlene are here as panelists this evening as they share their personal stories of deep losses suffered from gun violence. Ms. Alice Oakes and Ms. Giselle Merck are two more mothers whose stories we are featuring tonight. From Stand Up, a group of largely PG County-based student activists, we have Vivian Ebasike, Tyler Smith, Sydney Smith, and Janiyah Hawkins. Not able to be here this evening, but the driving force behind this and all that MPGB does is our Executive Director, Liz Bannock. We'll take your questions at the end, so please drop any questions you might have along the way into the chat as we go. So let's start off with statistics. They are clear and they are brutal. On average, 106 people a day are shot and killed in this country. On average, someone is killed with a gun every 12 hours in Maryland. 3 million children are directly exposed to gun violence each year, resulting in death, injury, and lasting trauma. On average, 64 gun suicides are committed each day. Black men make up 52% of all gun homicide victims in the US, despite comprising less than 7% of the population. Researchers conservatively estimate that gun violence costs the American economy at least $229 billion every year. The numbers are staggering. They're hard to conceive of, and they can be numbing. Yet behind each person, behind each number is a person, a family, a community with the fabric of their lives ripped apart. So with this project, we go behind those statistics to learn the stories so often left untold in the media, not the high-profile incidents that capture the nation's attention briefly, though they of course deserve great attention too. But here, we want to shine the spotlight on those who face the daily toll of gun violence, to honor the lives stolen, and also to honor the remarkable work and healing being done by those left behind, finding a path forward from the unimaginable. As little attention as the daily shootings receive, all that follows receives even less. The Behind the Statistics project originally shared stories through written word and photos. Transitioning to video episodes allows us to directly share the voices of those most impacted. The ladies you'll meet tonight opened their hearts and homes via Zoom due to COVID to share their stories and those of their children. Our aim is to lift them up, to amplify their voices so the terrible human cost cannot be ignored or lost behind the numbers. When our collective voices are loud enough, change must come. Bringing these stories to video also brought us to Stand Up. They are an impressive and inspiring group of young people, high school and college students, who are engaged in fighting for freedom from gun violence. We've been fortunate to partner with them. It has been a collaboration with mutual learning as we work to accomplish our common goals. They conducted the interviews, edited, and created the video episodes. This evening, they will share with you brief clips from 5 of the full episodes that are launching tonight. And with that, I'm going to turn you over to Vivian, the CEO of Stand Up, to tell you more about the group. Vivian?
Thank you, Bonnie, so much for that introduction. And I want to say that it was a pleasure working with Marylanders and yourself and Liz. When it comes to Stand Up, I could just say that we believe that this is one of the most historical times to stand in solidarity with communities of color, which is why our mission at Stand Up is to eliminate minority oppression through education and advocacy. And we work to educate the public about issues that each minority community faces and the historical contributions that they've made to society at large, which is why I'm happy that Stand Up did partner with Marylanders for this project, because we see that gun violence is at an all-time high. And we see these statistics at, high numbers, but we don't see how people are affected and what it's like for the families who have lost someone to go through the justice system, how it's just affected them financially, emotionally. And this is why this project is super important. So though tonight is about the ladies and how they've been affected by gun violence, Stand Up wanted to also showcase how it's been like for students, because ever since 2000, pretty much like in 4th grade, 3rd grade, elementary school, there's been a growing number of school shootings, and frankly, we've been numb to it. Like every week we would see another school shooting, and we would be like, oh, is our school next? And there have been drills and we have to prepare for it. And so this clip that we are going to showcase students who have dealt with gun violence outside of school. And in this clip that will be shown, it's from episode 1, where one of the young people we've interviewed, Ivana, briefly discusses her brush with the shooting. So enjoy.
So in the middle of pumping gas, a guy was walking past the driver's side seat with a blood-soaked shirt, holding his stomach like he had been shot or stabbed, and he proceeded to come to the front of the car. And my instincts told me to run and sit in the car just in case he tried to kidnap me or do anything. Mind you, it was raining outside, so the ground was wet. So I was slipping and sliding, trying to get back into the car. So another car proceeded to come into the gas station, which was completely empty. There was only one person in the store, but they were not paying attention. And he was aiming a gun at the guy in front of our car. Thank God he did not shoot, because that day could have been my last.
Thank you. Janaya?
Hello, my name is Janaya Hawkins, and I work with Stand Up, and today I'll be introducing my grandmother, Dr. Reverend Willis Elder at the Pillar Worship Center and co-founder of the Kevin L. Cooper Foundation.
He encountered Kevin, everything was fine, the call was abated, that's why his partner left him. If he was in any danger, his partner wouldn't have left him in our home. And he began to antagonize Kevin. I said, sir, everything is over, please exit the home. Kevin came downstairs, he put his shoes on and he came downstairs. And they went over, Kevin walked over towards the kitchen area. And when he walked over towards the kitchen, I asked the officer again, why are you talking to my son? You're supposed to be talking with me and de-escalating, not escalate something that was already quelled. It was over, it was calm, it was peaceful.
Thank you, Janaya and Miss Greta. Next up, we have Tyler.
Thank you, everybody, for coming today. Today, I'm introducing a clip from Miss Darlene's interview, and there's so many things I could talk about when talking about Miss Darlene, from her organization, Mothers on the Move, to the amazing marches she's led. But after speaking with Miss Darlene, I learned so much about her personality and her driving force that guides her everyday life. I remember reading an article written by the MPGV about Miss Darlene, and it characterized her as somebody who's always in action. And I totally agree with that. And I'm so happy that the discussion that we had really highlighted that, as well as the fact that she's somebody who brings others with her. She's not only running this race, but she's running a marathon, and she's bringing others up with her and using her personal experience to guide and help others through advocacy. So without further ado, I wanted to show that aspect of Miss Darlene's character through this clip.
What I pray to push is a lot of people is affected by this. Just like a lot of people didn't know or don't talk about, after the death of a lot of the children, a lot of the mothers are practically homeless because they take every dime that they spend to put on a funeral and a GoFundMe or whatever. You know, we mothers, we take everything. Like, we'll sell the table and the chair or whatever it is that we got to do to get it done to pay a bill. And I think a lot of people don't know, like, I was in contact with the last year or two with so many mothers who was losing everything they had and living with friends and families and place to place.
Thank you, Tyler and Miss Darlene. Next up, we have Sydney.
Alice Oakes is an active member in her community, an innovator, and was a mother to 2 sons born 6 years apart. Sadly, she lost both her sons, Ivan in 2008 and Larry in 2014, to gun violence. In her short clip, in her video, she shares her and her son's stories and the impact their lives, albeit too short, had on her and how it inspired her to create her organization SAVE, which stands for Survivors Against Violence Everywhere, which is a victim advocacy program that grants scholarships to children of victims of crime. She discusses her painful and personal emotions she has dealt with and the tremendous loss, as well as how she keeps moving forward to keep her son's memories alive. Alice and her son's stories stress the importance of forgiveness and triumph.
I work for the state's attorney's office. I work for the courts, and I see a lot of young people, because they come to the wrong office. They come into the public defender's office, and we come to the state's attorney's office. And sometimes I'll try to talk to them, and I'll let them know, I'll tell them my story about my sons. And I ask them, I say, are you tired of looking over your shoulders? Don't you want to have something more in life besides just trying to get out here and sell drugs? Because one day it's going to end up leading to death or going to jail. So I say, so I'm sure you wouldn't want your mother have to bury you or come to a jail to see you. And I just be talking to them, talking about my sons and stuff. And they seem like they kind of listen and care. And then they'll thank me for, and they say, Miss I am, I'm gonna get myself together. I said, yeah, because you're only leading to 2 places.
Thank you, Sydney and Miss Alice. We'll go back to Vivian now.
Yes, so thank you again. So Miss Giselle Mork, is a member of Moms, which is an advocacy group comprised of mothers and other loved ones who have lost someone to gun violence and who wants to advocate for justice on a grassroots level. And even though I wasn't the one who interviewed Miss Giselle, I could tell that she was in love with her son. She admired her son greatly. And it's unfortunate that he passed in 2017. And she's always trying to get justice for her son in any way possible. And so in this clip shown, she discusses her interaction with the justice system and the courts and how it doesn't favor victims. And as a criminal justice major, I could definitely attest to that fact. So here's the clip.
A victim is always a victim, you know, and sometimes it just seems like the system is more for the other side than for the victim. And I say that because when you're at the sentencing or even a trial, you are the one that must be quiet. You can't make outbursts. If you make an outburst, you have to leave the room, and I mean, it's hard because wait, this is my life that they ruined, and they can, if they wanted to, they could have a smug on their face or whatever, and you just have to sit there and take it.
Thank you, Ms. Giselle and Vivian. So I'm going to get our discussion started with a few questions now. And my first question is for Stand Up. Can each of you talk about what spurred you to become involved in the gun violence prevention movement? Perhaps tell us what it was like for you to be witnesses to these stories and what you hope to accomplish through this project. Vivian, would you like to go first?
Yeah, so Stand Up was created in inspiration of March for Our Lives, which is a bigger gun violence prevention nonprofit organization. I think when we first started, it like really spurred because I saw the Colorado shooting on the news like back in 2019, and I was just like, okay. I was kind of grew tired of the fact that we saw like another mass shooting every single week. So I told people in like some of the members of a different project at our high school, like, hey, let's do a march. Let's start to raise awareness for gun violence. And like, we got inspo from March for Our Lives because, they were, young people who were tired of that as well. And, that's how we got started in like, gun violence prevention advocacy. When it comes to being involved in this project, it was just another way for us to advocate against gun violence by sharing these stories. But what I took from this project was that, we always use, gun violence statistics to like showcase why we should have more gun reform, gun control. But, just seeing the personal aspect, like how people were personally affected by this is just so much more impactful than just seeing numbers. Like so that's what I have.
Thanks, Vivian. Your passion, which I've seen over the last year, comes through clearly. Tyler?
Yeah, so similar to Vivian, I think I'm a political science major. So one of the things that I really follow is that idea of how a lot of certain things that shouldn't be politicized are politicized, right? And I feel like gun violence is one of those huge things, right? We see kind of in news where different politicians or different leaders might say we need to stop this or we don't need to stop this just to gain certain followings and maybe referencing statistics to make it seem like they care about people, right? But at the end of the day, behind these statistics, like kind of what we want to display through these videos is that there's people, right? Each one of those numbers represents somebody's lives, represents somebody's family. And I feel like that part and that aspect is not talked about enough when it comes to these issues. So going into why I joined Stand Up was because of that fact, to go to the communities and help communities in regards to civic engagement, in regards to education, in regards to uplifting the stories of these people who are often overlooked by the justice system, by our political system, and so on. And I'm happy that I was able to be a part of this major project that was able to uplift these voices and to kind of be able to make their mark in the digital space. So it's been amazing.
Tyler. Sydney.
Similar to Vivian's story, our high school had a trip to, I believe it was New York, and we were supposed to have a presentation on gun violence. And that moment, it kind of triggered I was always into politics, with seeing the news and everything like that and what's going on in my own state and areas around me. So, but going to that trip and coming back home, I was pretty much spurred on to start something. I believe I was approached by Vivian with Stand Up, and she was like, "Hey, I'm starting this organization. Please join." And I said, "Of course." And then it's been a while since then. We've been doing multiple projects, and then she approached me again with this project, and I was so excited to be a part of it, and that hopefully me playing a part in this project, even if it's small or major, would potentially change someone's life or make it some type of impact in our community. So I'm excited to be a part of it. And seeing it now in the event is awesome and exciting.
Thanks, Sydney. Janaya, would you like to share?
Oh, hello. Okay, I'm doing this project because my uncle was killed, and I felt that it was important to bring light to situations that are not really, like, the media shows it, but like they don't show everything about it. So I just thought that it would be a good opportunity to shine light on the situation.
Thank you, Janaya. All right. I am now going to turn to our four ladies, the focus of our evening. I'd like to start by asking you all four of you, to each speak about what this process was like for you, telling your stories in this format, what making these videos with the students has been like, and also what it means to you to have your children's stories shared publicly like this. Miss Greta, will you start us off, please?
Again, good evening. In this format of telling our stories as being a mother who have lost my youngest son at the tender age of 14, that he was shot in front of me in my home. It has been, a traumatic experience, but telling the story has been a great experience because it brings light to other families and to others to let them know of things that takes place after the news is gone, after all the political figures, has gone home and the lights and cameras are gone, that there are families, there are real people behind a hashtag, a story that's in the paper. There are mothers that are left behind. There are fathers that are left. There are children that, some of our sons and daughters have left children behind. So telling the story is very necessary to bring light to a dark situation and to bring light into it, that they can see that there is light on the other side of the tunnel. So telling the story has really been great. I appreciate all the students from Stand Up because they have been excellent in sharing our stories with you all.
Thank you, Ms. Greta. Ms. Darlene.
Hello. Thank you again for having me tonight. Telling the story, very, very necessary. We want the world to know that our loved ones was loved. They have families, siblings, and that we as mothers don't need to be silent. We need to let our voices be heard, our stories be told out of our own mouths. It's important that we tell the stories and not other people create the narratives for us. And family, sometimes it changes families. Sometimes it makes families closer. Sometimes it makes families get apart. And so what you have to do for yourself is build yourself back together. So for me, telling my story built me back to health. My journey from when I was depressed, when I was losing weight, didn't want to eat, not changing my clothes, and one day waking up saying, I've got to get up. So getting that strength and that power to stand up, to go back out there and fight and find out that you have more strength than that you ever could imagine. So it means everything to share the story, and our children, our loved ones will never, ever be forgotten if we continue to use our voices and let our voices be heard.
Thank you, Ms. Darlene. And I would just quickly say that I have been consistently impressed by the remarkable strength that all of you ladies show. Ms. Alice.
Yes. Thank you all for having me. And I love, excuse me, I love talking about my children because I only had two. God blessed me with two sons, and I thank God for them. Um, I just don't want another mother to go through the same pain that I've gone through. If my story can help another mother, and that's why I do this, so I can help someone else get through their pain. My pain was so real and so, is that the word I'm looking for? But it just, the pain made me so, I don't know, so hurt. I was just so hurt that I want to commit suicide. So, just since saying that I want to commit suicide, my children were all I had. I have grandchildren, yes, but my grandchildren are not mine. They are my son's children. So I just want another mother to not go through what I'm going through. And I thank God that I'm able to talk to the young people about this journey to try to help one child. Because I always say if I help one person, I've helped somebody. So one mother should not have to bury another child. So I just want to help these mothers and these children. So that's why I do what I do.
Thank you, Ms. Alice. Ms. Giselle.
Yes.
I thank you all for this process. What the making of this story means for me is it means my son will always be remembered. It means that family and friends have another way of healing, because this is about them now healing. They're hurt. I mean, they cannot comprehend, none of us can, what has happened. So this is a healing journey for everybody. My son has a quote, and it is, "I may not change the world, but I want to inspire many." So I'm hoping to live out what my son wanted to do, which is to inspire many to keep going, keep moving, keep having that faith. Don't give up. God has never left you nor forsaken you. And lastly, the pin that I have, it says, "I will wear orange." What does it say? Sorry. "I will wear orange because a parent should not have to outlive their child." So thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ms. Giselle. And I can say that you are inspiring many already. Ladies, my next question for you is, what do you hope that people learn from hearing your stories? Is there anything specific you'd like them to take away from this, or perhaps any particular actions you'd like people to take? Miss Greta?
Well, what I would like from people to take away from Kevin's story, as well as all the other families that are here in this particular setting and across, Maryland as a whole, that we are mothers, that we still cry, our hearts are still hurting, but we are tenacious mothers. We are strong mothers. We are strong families that come together when the rubber meets the road, that we can stand up and we can fight in a good sense to have legislations and laws change, that it can be a better place for our grandchildren, for the future, for those to come. There's so many lives that has been lost through gun violence. May it be suicide, police violence is gun violence, community violence, but there are mothers and families that stands behind these stories, stand behind every bullet that has projected from a weapon into the bodies of our loved ones, that there are families who are lost and there are families who were loved. So with Kevin's story being told, I would like people to take away that that one bullet that went through his shoulder and burst his heart, it will not kill or die or kill or steal his dream. His dream will continue to go on. The legacy will continue to go forward through the stories that are being told through our grandchildren and through the foundation that we were able to establish in his memory.
Thank you, Ms. Greta. Ms. Darlene?
Well, I like to first say to the mothers and the families that you're not alone and that we are each other's shoulders and that our shoulders can hold one another up. Whether we crying, we're laughing, or wanting a hug and be held, whatever it is, we're there for one another. And with each other, we can pass on resources and we can create legislations and laws together. I mean, there's so much that we can do together. Learning how to become united in solidarity with one another is one of the biggest things. So we're bonded together, not by blood, but by this pain that we all go through. And so I would like to say, like what Giselle said, and maybe piggyback on Greta, forgive, spread love one person at a time. And don't forget, if you have another sibling living, spend time with them. Listen to them, talk to them, because a lot of times the sibling doesn't get that attention because a lot of times you're still grieving over the child that you lost or the children that you lost, that you don't have time for the other sibling or someone else that needs that attention or a grandchild. So I would tell you to become a good listener and be there for them. And if you can create something, not only in their legacy, you can ask the grandchildren and siblings to help create a legacy. Their legacy was education is a key. And he loved education. He loved going to school. He went to 3 colleges. So that went on with his children. They love education and he was an advocate reader and so are they. So once a year when the COVID wasn't here, I would go to the camp that Miss Greta had for the children. They were champions and I would read to them on his birthday because the legacy was to continue to educate our children. So continue to educate yourself on what you went through and continue to educate others and just give back.
Thank you, Ms. Darlene. Ms. Alice?
Well, with me, forgiveness. I learned to forgive the person that killed my son. So everybody's not where I'm at as far as forgiveness. And I don't portray to have nobody to forgive someone that took their loved one's life. But for me to go on, I had to forgive that person. So I'm a person who like to listen. I'm a very good listener. So if you're going through the pain of losing a loved one, I can always give you that hug. I can give you that listening ear. So I I'm just blessed to know so many mothers who is going through this journey and probably still going through the journey. So I'm just blessed to know these wonderful people. And I thank God for bringing them into my life. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Ms. Alice. Ms.
You're
Giselle,
welcome.
I think we have a photo that you wanted to share something about that you would like people to understand.
Okay, thank you.
Come and give us a sec.
No worries. So, and I thank you for Marylanders with the prevention of gun violence for taking this and doing the story. My question to you all is, in this photo, what do you see? What do you think about when you see this photo? What comes to your mind? Does it come to your mind that this is a group of mixed people? Does it come to your mind that they're in a gang, that they're thugs? Does it come to your mind that there's an empty seat? Does it come to your mind that it shows the young to the very old? Well, in this is a bench that I have for my son, JC. And the bench says, being with good people is better than being alone. Almost each person has a t-shirt that has a photo of JC. What you're seeing is what happens when somebody takes somebody's life. There's a missing person that won't fill that seat. It will be empty. But you're also seeing people smiling. Some are sad and some are smiling. Some are wearing their hoods, some aren't. So the thing is, when you see somebody who may be different than you, don't judge because you don't know them. Again, you may think, oh, this is gang, when it's not. This is actually a group of family, church members, and friends. Nothing to do with a gang. So looks can be very deceiving. And I thank you for allowing me to talk about this photo. What do I want people to learn from this is, don't judge. Don't judge somebody because you don't know their walk. You don't know their life. So please don't judge. What action is there to take? Well, let me just quickly, because I know I don't have a lot of time. Let me just quickly say this. What happens to us makes us become members of clubs, mothers of murdered sons and daughters, moms demand action. There's so many so-called clubs that we're in. The one thing I'll tell you about Moms Demand Action is it's a fight. It's a fight. We are resilient. It is a fight. And one last thing, I mean, with Moms Demand Action, there's help. If you need help to get you through mentally, there's better help. If you need to connect with another survivor in order to get somebody to understand, it's there for you. It's there. You are not alone. And just know God loves you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Giselle. Ladies, can you share a little bit about some of the work of healing that you've done personally, within your families, within your communities? I want to be sure that that gets airtime tonight as well. Ms. Greta?
Well, it's several things of healing that we have done and developed. And one of the greatest joys, because, you know, Kevin was young, he was 14, and I lost my oldest son at the age of 16. So young ages that we've able to have a trauma support group through the elementary school with Marylanders to Prevent Gun Violence. That is truly dear and near, as well as in the community. sharing and uplifting the young people in their grief and trauma, because secondhand trauma is real. Trauma that happens to the victim, but it impacts the others, especially the children. So that's the greatest portion when you're talking about what have I done to help. Being able to provide every year school supplies and clothes and food to over 200 children and their families. That's a great piece, to continue the legacy and the process of healing and in that space of forgiveness. So that's what makes me smile, and it's dear to my heart.
Thank you, Ms. Greta. Ms. Darlene?
Oh, my mic was already off. So for me, the healing process was when I started feeling stronger. I took the classes at the Roper Victim program, working with the students at Liberty Elementary School, just taking time to listen to them, trying to put a smile on their face and just listening to them, and letting them just have a space where they can feel comfortable and free to talk and just be themselves. Whatever it is that they want to do. They want to talk, they want to fall, they want to laugh, they want to flip, they want to just be with their siblings or whatever, just letting them have that space. And being part of the Baltimore Trauma Response Team, that's another part of healing, to be able to provide a service for the families when there's a victim who's got shot on the streets or a crime has happened. I wasn't part of the team when they had the explosion in Pikesville near the plaza, but to be able to be on it out there to let people know that somebody's here that's going to give out resources, somebody's going to help. And being able to create Decant Health and Wellness, and that is exercise and walking every day, trying to eat healthier and learning how to dance and do gratitude. So that has helped me tremendously.
Thanks, Mr. Lean. And I can say that I've had a tiny window into the work that you and Ms. Greta do with the Liberty Elementary School project, and it is remarkable. You make such a difference in those children's lives. So thank you to both of you for that. Ms. Alice?
Okay, my healing process, we through my organization, Survivors Against Violence Everywhere, we give scholarships to victim of crime children every year. We send a child to fun camp. So, and we do Christmas and Thanksgiving for a family. So that's my healing process, and I love talking to young people. So that kind of helps me heal. Like I said, I have 9 grandchildren. So I love being around my grandchildren because they're teenagers, they're young adults now. So they bring me a lot of joy. So that's my healing process. And plus, I'm a volunteer at Roberta's house. So I volunteer over there. So their support group is good for me as well. So that's what I do as far as my healing process.
It's beautiful. Thank you. Ms. Giselle?
The beginning of my healing process is trusting in my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. That's the beginning of it. Then it's making sure that the youth, JC's family and his friends are healed. And part of that, I thank you, Stand Up, because you all are the youth. And for you all to be talking to the other youth, you both can understand each other, and you all are healing together. Because see, this just doesn't affect us and our generation. This affects you all, and you all's generation. So that's part of the healing. Marylanders to prevent gun violence. By doing this behind the statistics, it's the healing of, hey, you don't know my son, my daughter, whomever it is, story. So let me set it straight. So don't get it twisted, Then with mothers of murdered sons and daughters. It's doing marches. It's demonstrating. It's standing together. It's getting together with artists, you know, who is doing beautiful artwork of our sons, you know, so that their memory will live on. It's Moms Demand Action. Because with Moms Demand Action, that's where we go to Annapolis. We go to the US Capitol. We are demanding change. We are one voice, one people. We're not just the voice of our loved ones. We are the voice of those that have not yet found their voice because it's just been taken from them. So the healing process, that's still a journey. And everybody on this panelist has their organization to help somebody else heal, because people don't heal the same way. So I thank all of the other ladies on this panelist for how they bring forth healing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Giselle. There's definitely themes of forgiveness and action between all of you ladies. Vivian, I believe you have a question you would like to ask the ladies?
Yes. So, looking at some of your episodes, I saw like a theme of, you know, your interaction with the justice system. And, you know, I mentioned this before with Ms. Giselle's episode, but I just wanted to ask each of you what it was like being in the courtroom, because I know that it wasn't just Ms. Giselle who felt the same way about, you know, victims not being able to say anything, not being able to, you know, and just being in the face of, you know, the person who harmed and murdered your children. So I just wanted to ask what it was like for all the ladies on this panel.
Oh, I can answer. For myself, unfortunately, I wasn't given an opportunity to go into the criminal justice system because the person that had taken Kevin's life, they said that it was justifiable homicide. So we were not given an opportunity to go in the court system. We were offered a settlement, which we refused to take because Kevin's life meant more than monies could ever purchase. So we did not have that opportunity, but fighting in the court system afterwards in the civil realm, it was just horrendous because you felt like David and Goliath, you know, a small person against a big giant. But, you know, the God that I serve, that continuously stays with me and keep me, and it's through our faith, our family's faith, that's been keeping us strong. So it has not been easy in the justice system of fighting for our loved ones.
So I can speak also on not having the opportunity to go to court for my son. They said his case was justified. And so later on in my journey, when I started testifying and doing testimonies, the hard part of it is the hours waiting for your bills to come up. And when your bills come up, sometimes the people in the judicial system, it be less of them, or they just don't seem like they don't hear what you're saying. Mothers and families, they crying, they pouring out their heart about how the child got killed and how they want this bill passed. And it's a very, very tiresome experience, but also it's rewarding, because once you do get one small thing and one small step passed or pushed, it's a small victory, because we had nothing at first. So, you know, it's just a lot. It's hard wear and tear on your body, getting up early in the morning, going to Annapolis. You don't know how long you're going to be out there, how long you're going to be out at DC. But it's important that your voice be heard. And you just want everybody to know is that I'm not fighting for just my child. I'm fighting for your child and our child. And like Giselle said, the voices, people who haven't found their voices and the people who children names that haven't been named. And when you go there, you know, we be lifting up other people's children as well who's now with us, you know, because we want people to know that we're not just going up there saying our own children's name. So it's a lot. You have to have a lot of faith, a lot of strength, and you have to have a lot of belief. So I believe that someday we will get accountability with the police, and we're going to continue to fight, and we're going to continue to fight for gun laws, for gun sense in America, and that someday that we won't have all of this violence, and we can have conversations and be able to talk like regular people.
Thank you, Ms. Darlene. Ms. Alice?
Can you repeat the question again? Because I kind of had an important phone call I had to take. So I'm sorry.
No problem.
Can you repeat that question?
Vivian was asking about your experiences interacting with the justice system.
Oh, my first son, Irvin. Now, we went to court for him back in 2009, they gave him life plus 20 years. Then, like maybe 10 years later, I get a summons to come to court because the boy put in for a post conviction. So with their post conviction, it was like they was going to do the trial all over again. And the attorney came to me and said, we're going to offer him a plea deal. And their plea deal was 40 years. And I'm like, okay. So he already did 10, he going to do 10 more, he'd be home. So to me, that was a slap in my face because I wanted somebody to pay for what they, taking my son's life. So, but so sometimes I think in that part is it kind of failed me. But I've gone to Annapolis to get a bill passed, and that bill was for witness intimidation. Because you have a lot of people that don't want to come to court or don't want to say anything because they're scared. So one of the young ladies that was on my son's case, the boy's family followed her on the train, on the subway. And so they, kind of scared her. She didn't want to come back to court. So we did get that law passed, so it did pass. But I work for the justice system. So I love my job. I love what I do because I get a chance to interact with these people. That's I get to interact with the people, in the system. But so I'm kind of okay with it. Sometimes I'm not, because I don't have justice for my second son. So that's where I'm kind of bothered, So I think once eventually one day maybe I will get justice for that son. I hope and pray before I close my eyes that I do seek justice for him. But I'm okay right now. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Giselle, we're getting close on time here. So can you speak briefly about your experiences with the justice system?
Yep. Well, let me see. With sentencing, once you don't go on trial and it goes straight to sentencing, you get your time to talk. Then there's the parole hearing. When you think it's all over, then it turns out that they're coming up for parole. So you're writing victim impact statement for the sentencing. You got to write another one for the parole hearing. If like parents of murdered
parents of murdered children, they'll help you with the parole stuff. So all I can say is God's got the last word. And for those of you who it's unsolved, it's just waiting. So do not give up hope. It's just waiting. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Giselle. We had a question from, I believe, Dave in our chat about how to effectively lobby. And Dave, I would tell you that the next Maryland session starts in January. If you go to our website and sign up for our emails, you will automatically get regular action updates about actions you can take, letters you can write, calls you can make, things that you can do to help effectively lobby for gun safety legislation. Sorry about that. So mdpgv.org, sign up for our emails and you will get linked into effective ways to lobby.
To add, sorry.
Please.
Yeah, I feel like also getting other people to lobby with you is very important. There's strength in numbers. The rule of thumb when it comes to lobbying is like if one person asks for something, they talk to their representative about something, that representative is going to think, okay, 10 other people might be thinking the same thing. So if you get 10 other people to lobby, then that's 100 people, 100 voices. That's you know, that's being spoken for, it's being voiced out. So, you know, there's strength in numbers.
Great advice, Vivian. Thank you. So we're getting close to wrapping up here. I'm going to ask each of you ladies one last question. And I know that it's hard to distill a person down to just a few words, but can you describe your sons for us briefly? Tell us something about who they were, or what they loved, or what made them laugh or smile, whatever you feel like sharing to paint a little picture for us. Ms. Greta?
Kevin was love. He was sunshine. He was an entrepreneur. He wanted to be a businessman and a football player. He loved football and he loved his community. And most of all, he loved singing on the choir and serving the people, not only the people of God, but all those around him. So with one word, I can describe Kevin, and that was he was a bright sunshine. And if love could have saved him, he would have lived forever.
Thank you, Ms. Greta. Ms. Darling?
I'm sitting here looking at this picture of Dale, and this picture right here describes Dale, and it shows you that he's always smiling, always laughing, and Dale was so loved, and he just always tried to make a celebration out of everything. I mean, no, if you have no money, he's gonna make a party. It's gonna be potato chips and pretzels or something. He's gonna find a party, and he just he loved his children so much, and he loved his family, and all I just keep saying the word love. And he was just like a I used to call him Daily Bull. And so he was just a Daily Bull. He was like a stuffed animal, you know. He was just plushy and just a big huggable person, and he was very determined, set high goals at a very early age. And this is all he did was smile. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Darlene. Ms. Alice?
Well, both of my sons, oh, they was the apple of my eyes. their smile will melt your heart. But Irvin loved to drive. He loved to drive. He was at the ROTC. And I just thought their uniform was just made for him. So I thought he was going to pursue a career in military. And Larry, he was a drawer. He loved to draw. So he had a scholarship for the School for the Arts, which he didn't go. But yeah, they was loved by everyone. Everyone knew them and loved them. So yeah, plus they love to go to church, especially Larry. Larry, he could read the Bible from the Genesis to Revelation. He could tell you about their Bible. So yeah, they were just they were my apple. They were the apple of my eyes, guys. They They was my sons.
Thank
Yes.
you, Ms. Alice. Ms. Giselle?
JC, dependable, loyal, lovable, popular. Oh,
I'm so sorry.
no worries, lovable. He could lift you up, so full of life and energy. And I could just echo what all of these other mothers said about their son is the same as mine. So full of life and love and responsibility, a motivator. And, defender of the weak, the defender of the ones that's been bullied.
Thank you, Ms. Giselle. Thank you to Ms. Greta. Thank you to Ms. Darlene. Thank you, Ms. Alice. And thank you, Ms. Giselle, for trusting us with your stories. Thank you to Stand Up for bringing the stories to the screen and for all of your tech advice to us old dinosaurs. And thank you to all of you in the audience for joining us this evening. We are fortunate that MPGB has such wonderfully supportive members. An easy action you can take now in honor of these lives lost is to share their stories. The full episodes that you've seen glimpses into this evening can be found at the link on your screen. We'll leave it up for a moment to give you a chance to copy it. I encourage you to watch these episodes and to share them. Please help us go behind the statistics. Thank you all and have a good night.